Today we will be discussing the JPMorgan Chase data breach from 2014. Just a quick disclaimer, the entities affected by the cyber breach have not disclosed all the details of the incident publicly, and likely will not do so in the future. However, sufficient information is available online and within the cybersecurity community to infer the probable events during the breach. While efforts have been made to ensure the accuracy of the information provided, the presenter assumes no responsibility for its accuracy or the consequences of its use. Our sources of information. This case study is adapted from the 2014 JPMorgan Chase data breach, utilizing information from public sources and modified for educational purposes. For further details, please refer to the additional resource provided in the presentation. So the target audience for this is going to be undergraduate and graduate students. Keywords are going to be data security and data privacy. And last time it was updated was May 1st, 2024. Learning objectives: explain data security and privacy, describe security and privacy violations that happened during the JPMorgan data breach, and list common protection mechanisms for data security and privacy. So just a quick introduction here. JPMorgan Chase is the largest bank in the United States with assets totaling $3.9 billion, or trillion dollars, excuse me, and is also the world's largest bank by market capitalization. In the 2014 breach, a significant cyber attack compromised data associated with 76 million households, affecting 2 out of 3 American households at that time. The stolen information included names, email addresses, postal addresses, and phone numbers of the account holders. And the significance of this breach was a critical reminder that even the most secure institutions in the United States can be vulnerable to cyber attacks. So here's a quick timeline of events. So in July of 2014, JPMorgan Chase gets a preview of stolen credentials repository, noticing matches from users registered on their corporate challenge website. In early August, JPMorgan approached Simco Data Systems, the third-party vendor managing their corporate challenge website. Simco confirmed that their website was compromised. On August 7th, JPMorgan and Simco take the corporate challenge website offline. During this process, JPMorgan discovers that the attackers have also breached their corporate network. In November of 2015, federal indictments are brought against the suspects involved in the attack on JPMorgan and similar breaches affecting other institutions. Key insight from this: the timeline demonstrates how quickly a security breach can escalate, moving from a third-party website all the way to a full corporate network intrusion. So the entry point. The attackers likely obtained initial credentials from an employee who had registered on the compromised corporate challenge website. JPMorgan's failure to implement things like two-factor authentication on the network allowed attackers to use these stolen credentials to log in. Once inside, the attackers expanded their access, ultimately compromising 90 additional servers within JPMorgan's network. And no zero-day exploits. It's notable that this attack did not involve any zero-day exploits, highlighting that basically even security oversights can lead to significant breaches like this. Attribution. So as far as initial suspects go, the FBI initially suspected that a sophisticated adversary, such as someone like the Russian government, was even behind this breach. By mid-October, the suspicion was ruled out, and the investigation focused on different suspects. 4 individuals were eventually indicted on 23 federal counts related to the attack on the JPMorgan Chase and similar breaches at other institutions. This case illustrates the challenges in attributing cyber attacks, where initial leads can be misleading, and investigators often uncover unexpected perpetrators and also connections to further breaches. So here's a wanted poster from the FBI. And as far as the impact and fallout goes, the attackers used the stolen information to operate a stock price manipulation scheme and run illegal gambling sites, which generated millions and millions of dollars in profit. The defendants also planned to start their own brokerage firm, intending to leverage the stolen information to gain a competitive advantage. In October of 2015, the Senate Banking Committee urged federal banking regulators to develop a process for mitigating similar attacks in the financial sector. The breach demonstrates how stolen data can be exploited beyond traditional identity theft, fueling complex financial crimes. So one of the key takeaways from the JPMorgan Chase data breach, is the importance of implementing things like two-factor authentication on every server within a network, even the ones that are considered secure. Another lesson is the necessity of maintaining close and kind of complicated communication and collaboration between the security teams of both third-party vendors and the corporate network. These measures, if implemented, could have definitely significantly reduced the likelihood of the breach occurring and also the subsequent impacts which happened afterwards. So, what were the critical security failures that allowed attackers to compromise JPMorgan Chase's network, and how could these have been mitigated? You should discuss things like the absence of two-factor authentication and also vulnerabilities in JPMorgan's security infrastructure. Explore what preventative measures could have been implemented to avoid such a compromise. Third-party risks. So, how should financial institutions balance the need for third-party integrations with maintaining rigorous data security standards, particularly given that this breach originated from a third-party managed website to begin with? You can evaluate the risks versus rewards associated with third-party services in the financial sector. And also you should consider how institutions can foster security collaboration with third parties while also protecting the sensitive information from the breaches in the first place. And then regulatory steps should definitely be considered. Like in the aftermath of JPMorgan Chase data breach, what steps should regulatory bodies and financial institutions take or have taken to enhance the cybersecurity security measures across the sector? analyze the role of regulatory bodies in setting and enforcing cybersecurity standards, and also possibly discuss potential regulatory measures and industry best practices that could further strengthen cybersecurity defenses and prevent similar breaches like this from happening in the future. So here's our references, and thank you for listening today. Bye-bye.